that has been very much the case with war. I remember one time, I don't know if you remember this, but in 2015, there was this kind of like lone gunman attack on the parliament, the Canadian parliament in Ottawa. And it turned out the guy, even though he was Muslim, was mostly just psychiatrically ill, had a long history of psychiatric illness. And he killed one young guard who stood outside the parliament and nobody else. And that guy became kind of an icon in Canada. I was there the whole week. They, had marches in his name. They interviewed all his family members. And so there was a sense of, wow, our society has really suffered the loss of this, valuable, precious human life, which it has. When have you ever heard the name of one of our victims from all the countries that we bomb and have been bombing for 25 years, all throughout the war on terror, always now, all these bombs that drop, these drones that have dropped on wedding parties, they're all just dehumanized. They're all kind of just swept under the rug. Did you hear of any of the families of the 165 schoolgirls who we killed on the first day of the war in Iran? No, that's a very deliberate strategy to make sure that Americans don't think about and don't focus on the amount of carnage and suffering and bloodshed that our military is causing against innocent people, because that is the only way that you can get populations to accept these constant wars, is if you don't let them realize what actually it entails. And I think the reason Gaza was an exception was because so many people in Gaza had so many cameras in their hand and were uploading and had allies who could upload the actual carnage and the actual inhumanity that was taking place in every day, and people couldn't avoid it. But they made a lot of efforts to try and prevent that from being seen as well. That was what the ban of TikTok was ultimately about.